Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tasia, but you can also call me Tay, and welcome in. I'm so excited to have you here. It's day 29 on Sprout, which means we are officially on the last day before I do my final island tour. I'm so excited to show you guys the finished result of this island. I've been having so much fun. I know I've said that a bunch of times throughout this series, but it's true. I've truly enjoyed working on this theme and just showing you guys my process of making an island from the very beginning. I've pretty much recorded everything for you guys, so thank you everyone so much for those of you who have really watched this series all the way through, or even if you've just joined recently and watched all the newer episodes and went back and rewatched any of them. Just thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. I truly appreciate your guys' support. But getting into what we're doing today. Today we are decorating my own house. I really have a lot of fun decorating my own house interiors on my islands because I always tailor them to the island theme itself. And since I'm doing farmcore, this one is very different from anything I've really done before. But before we get into it, I would greatly appreciate if you guys could like and subscribe. I would love to have you guys join this community that we are building here. Now let's get into the video. Alright, so we are going to start off here in the main room right when you enter the house. So for all the rooms today, I wanted to match them to my island theme, like I said. So my house exterior is actually designed to be a barn looking kind of exterior. So I really wanted the inside to match that design. So all of the rooms in my house are going to be themed to be like the interior of an actual barn. And each room is going to feature a different farm animal or some kind of farm element. So starting off with this first room, I wanted to make a horse stable. I feel like that's pretty standard for an inside of a barn. Not that I would know or have really any past life experience visiting a barn, but I figured it was just very fitting. So I'm using a lot of this wallpaper for pretty much a lot of the rooms that I'm going to be decorating in because it just really reminds me of a barn, and I love the color. I never really decorate with the color red, and this was just so fun and different, so I was really excited to work with this. And also something different is me just throwing in a ton of the items that I'm going to use and placing them where I want them. This was mainly because I already figured out how I wanted the rooms to be, and I'm just redoing it. A very common theme that I've been doing throughout this series. But yeah, this is going to be my little horse stable. So here I've used some storefronts, I've customized some simple panels for the horses, and they each have their own little stables. I'm also using a lot of hay beds in this room and barrels, just really wanting to make everything feel cozy and warm in here. I also just wanted it to be very inviting, so I used those string of plain party light arch, I think it's called. I don't know why I forgot the name of that item. Yeah, I put that in the back of the room. It just felt so homey to me, and I don't know, maybe they also throw little parties here in this barn or something like that. So I really wanted to work with a lot of lighting and just make it feel warm, like I said, and just very homey for these horses. And yeah, this is pretty much the main layout. As you can see, I completely forgot to put a simple panel on the bottom layer of those horse designs, but I fixed that in a minute. So yeah, I'm just adding some final touches around. I wanted to put in a radio because, you know, I just wanted some music going on in my rooms. I rarely do that, I always forget. But this is the first room, pretty simple, very cute. And we are going to move on to the next room. So the room on the right over here is home for my chickens on the island. I wanted to make this room themed like a little chicken coop. I'm really happy with how this layout turned out as well. It is very small and compact in here, but I think it really does the job. I wanted to make a little barrier between the actual chickens and where they live, but before I did that, I realized that I forgot to put in those stalls, like I was saying, or the simple panels I mean, and yeah, I just put those in on the sides and the bottom behind the horses, so it just looks like there's one right there. And yeah, I completely forgot that I needed to do that. But anyways, going back over to the chickens. Like I mentioned, I'm going to put a little barrier between where the chickens are and where you can walk into the room. So I use some of the pillars throughout the room, and I also wanted to use these plant partitions. They just add a lot of life, I think, into a room and just any build really. So yeah, it's just a lot more homey, like I've said. That's really the overall theme for this house. And I just wanted to put them there on the sides, and that acts as a little gate. And I put the two chicken simple panels there in the back to act as like little shelves that the chickens are resting on. And I'm also going to put in some zodiac rooster figures as well to act as like live chickens. I just really have enjoyed doing that throughout my island. I think it's so cute. I also put in that item that kind of looks like a little basket of eggs. I've used this in a few of my builds as well, and it's just so adorable. I love doing that with all the chickens around. And it's kind of just like I've come in here and gathered some eggs to use. And I also put in a little bean tossing kit on top of that wooden stool just to act as the seeds that I feed all of my chickens. So it's just rested there in the front and center. And this is the layout of the room. I think it's so adorable. I'm just moving a few things around, but this one I love. I love it so much. I hope my chickens love it. They're very well taken care of here in this room. And just very simple. I'm using that wallpaper again, and I also like changing up the different accent walls that I have in the rooms. But yeah, this is the home of the chickens. So moving on to the back room, this room is probably my second favorite room in the house. I really wanted to include a little greenhouse here in this room. I really wanted to place this in the back of the house because I wanted to do a little accent wall that looks like a big giant window with two doors that would essentially lead to my backyard of my house. So I ended up customizing all of those glow-in-the-dark stickers to act as windows, and I put the two doors there as well. I just think this is such a fun detail, and it added so much life to the room as well. And I just think this room turned out so fun. I've been really enjoying working on garden themed interiors for this island, and the color scheme as well is a color scheme I've never really worked with for my house interiors. But I essentially wanted to do like a row of shelves along the sides of the house or the sides of this room. So I used that countertop item. I genuinely forget the name of that item. But yeah, I used those for along the sides, and I also threw in a storage shed there. I just thought it was really cute to add. Maybe I put all of my gardening tools in there. And I also wanted to put a table in the center of the room. Maybe this is where I tend to a lot of my plants or any project that I'm currently working on I use at this center table. But I'm essentially throwing in a ton of gardening items, a ton of starter plants, a moss ball, and I also customized that glass jar there on the surface of that table, and I customized it to be that cocoa bean design. I think that's what it is, but to me it just looked like a little jar of soil, which I thought was perfect for this room, so I love that little detail. And yeah, it's just full of plants, very bright things. I'm also going to go back in and kind of cover everything in different shining items. I forget what it's actually called. Everything's kind of escaping me right now, all the names of the things in this game, but where I will pretty much shine everything to look like there's butterflies flying around this room. I thought that was a really fun detail. I also put in that little hat there in the back. It just reminds me of like a gardening hat, and I love it. I just love that so much. It makes it a lot more cottagecore also. And this room is very, very full. You can't really walk around in here that much, but as I've said, I usually go for decor and look over functionality for my interior decorating. So yeah, I don't really mind having a more cluttered room. But now I'm starting to move on to a lot of the walls. I'm putting in some dried flowers and just other hanging decor items that are plant related. I also wanted to put in a gyroid there, and I think that one is the flutteroid, where it kind of looks like he has a little sprout or just petals growing and opening when he sings or is talking. So I thought it was a very cute addition to this room. I also wanted to put in another wooden partition there, just because I wanted another surface to put in more plants. If I'm being honest, I just wanted to put in all the plant items here in this room as much as possible, as much as I could fit. And I also start adding in all of my ceiling items. So I'm using those hanging shelves, and I also put in a fan. I just thought that was a really fun detail to use for this room. And this is when I start adding in all of my butterflies. I just think they make every room so magical. So I'm just glad that they are here. And here's the finished design for this greenhouse. I am so pleased with how this turned out. It's so vibrant and bright and fun. I feel like it must be so relaxing to actually have this somewhere in your house or in your garden. I would love this in real life. I would have so much fun. I probably would never leave, just growing all my cute, adorable plants. But we're going to move on to the next room in my house, and that is the left room. This one is going to be another little barn, but this one is going to be my cow stable. Now, you guys are probably thinking I've already done a cow stable like somewhere else on the island, as well as a horse and chicken coop and stall, but I only have so much room for simple panel designs, so I'm just kind of recycling all of my animal codes. I really wanted to showcase them for this island, so that's why I'm doing a cow stable for this one. I just also thought it'd be really fun and cute to have a bunch of little cows in this area, but it is going to be slightly different from my actual horse stable. For this one, I wanted to put the cows kind of tucked away in the back of the room, and I'm actually going to put them on one of those little frames that you can hang on the walls. So it kind of looks like they're in little windows, I guess, and yeah, it just turns out kind of cute. I have two different cow designs there, and I'm just putting 4 of them along the wall, so when you pan, you can kind of see all 4 of them there. I also put in those 2 barn doors, which I have just been having so much fun using for this house interior. They're just so cute and farmcore. I also thought it'd be fun to put in one of those garden wagons, or not garden wagon, but covered wagon, as well as a few cans and bottles of milk. I just thought that was so fitting for this room. And for the hay beds, I wanted to customize them in a lighter color because I'm using a lot of white for this room. And I actually did kind of the reverse for the wallpaper. I made the red iron wallpaper more of the accent wall, and I used the white wallpaper for the rest of the room just because it made it very vibrant and bright in here. And I'm also adding in a few wall decor items, but yeah, this one was super simple. I also put in some little hay decorations on top of those tokonoma items because when you pan around, you can actually see the insides of those. So I wanted to add a little detail in there. But this is the finished room. I thought this one turned out really cute as well. Super homey for these cows, and it really showcases all the milk bottles. And of course, we have to have our cow design here on the wall because I just love that code so much. So now we are moving on to the basement, and I wanted to save the best for last, so that's why we're doing the upstairs last. But for the basement, I pretty much wanted to make it like a downstairs kitchen slash storage room for all my vegetables and crops and fruit and just everything that I use to do cooking. So yeah, it's kind of like a little pantry downstairs, but it also has a little kitchenette area. It also has a wine cellar in the corner. This one turned out pretty fun as well. I actually saw this one design on Instagram. If I can find the creator, I will go ahead and pop it on the screen here, but they pretty much made like this little staircase with a door on top using the short and tall countertops and glow-in-the-dark stickers, and that was just so cool to me, and I knew I had to include that here in my basement. It's just amazing, and it just is very fitting for this room specifically. But here I'm also including a lot of the items I'm going to be using. I'm using that little kitchenette item and a ton of boxes because I customize them to be different fruits and vegetables, and I make kind of like a little pile of them, and it turned out so adorable. Probably one of my favorite little details in this room. And yeah, it was just so cute. I also got to use that one accent wall of the wood. I forget the name of it, but that one I've never really used in a house interior, and I just thought it was super fun and different for this room. And I'm just going to start adding in a few little countertops and other items here. I use that one wooden table again for the centerpiece. It's kind of just my little workstation where I cook and just prep food and everything. That's just what that's for. And I also use the covered counter there for my little wine cellar. It's super small. I do wish I included some pirate barrels in that corner because that actually would have been perfect, but I was kind of nearing the end of this island and I wasn't really wanting to go to another treasure island just for that. So I kind of just went with that one barrel there. I also wanted to include that cow print rug in this room. I just thought it was really fun and different. I also used those two bar stools because they were just too cute. And I don't know, this room is giving very much like medieval kitchen, like in shows or movies that you've seen where they're in a castle. It kind of looks like that one servant's quarter kitchen that they use. So that was kind of what this was giving, especially once I put in that little chandelier there, and I don't mind it. I thought it was really fun. But yeah, I'm just adding in some fun little details throughout this room. It's pretty open and empty. Honestly, didn't want to go too crazy with this one. And here's the final pan around for this room. I love the design for this one. It really makes me want to do a medieval island someday. It's just so fun and different. Something I haven't really tried before. And I just think it's a really cute and simple design for this basement. But let's move on to the final room, which actually turned out to be my favorite room just because of the cuteness. And that is thanks to the gyroids. I dedicated this room specifically to the gyroids because I wanted to make one of my rooms in my house themed after like a little jamboree or country band dance hall in a barn, kind of giving Hannah Montana. That was the goal for this one, but I ended up going with the idea of, instead of just a big empty dancing ceremony or dancing room, I kind of wanted to make like a little show where the gyroids are used to be a little band. So I kind of call them my gyroid jamboree, and they are just too cute in this room. I got to use a lot of the more rustic looking instruments that are able to be customized and crafted. So this one just brought me so much joy making it. It was the one that took me the longest to make, even though in the end it probably turned out to be the most simplest design of all my rooms today. But yeah, it was just so fun. So I pretty much have the stage here, and for a while I was trying to decide if I wanted to leave it as like an open concept room where I wouldn't really block the stage off from anything else, but in the end I do kind of put in two wooden or wall partitions in the room that are next to those pillars there, just to block off the stage from the main seating area where the audience would sit. I just think it really gave off more of a stage kind of look. So here I am using some items here. I'm using a lot of the stools, and I'm going to place a few gyroids on them. I'm going to place a few instruments, and I thought it'd be cute to kind of make the stage act like a little scene where it's decorated. So they're kind of in like a more country slash farm style scenery, I guess. And this is when I start putting in all of my gyroids. I was very particular in which ones I wanted to use. I wanted to use ones that really gave off farmcore and country band. So I used a few twingoids, I used an oinkoid, and just a few other ones that really gave off farmcore vibes. And the ones that kind of just looked like they were actually singing and dancing along to the music. So I just think they look so cute. They're just so adorable there on the stage. I love it. I also put in some curtain partitions on the ceiling just to act as like a little awning. I'm also going to put in some lighting just to add to the whole stage vibe. And just look how adorable it is. I can't handle it. I love it so much. It's so simple, but honestly, the gyroids just bring me so much joy whenever I get to use them in a build. But now I'm kind of just throwing in some final touches for this room. I put in that table with the cornucopia on top. I kind of figured maybe they are doing some fundraising with this show, so if you purchase tickets, you're helping with whatever they're fundraising for, or a charity in that regard. So that kind of just gave off that vibe to me. I don't know why. And then I also have that little table with a ticket on there, so you can come and drop off your tickets. And I also put in a dedicated seating area for you to enjoy the show. And And right there behind the partition wall, I'm actually going to put in a record player because I have a very specific music that you guys will be able to hear in a few seconds. It's KK Country. It's just the perfect song for the Jarwoods to sing and dance along to. So I'm gonna put in a little clip of what it sounds like. They are just too cute not to share. So here is that. And there we have it. Those are all 6 interiors for my own resident rep's house. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I had a lot of fun decorating all 6 of these rooms. They're all very different, very fun, very fitting for the theme, which is always my goal when making my house. And I just love them so much. It's probably the most fun I've had doing any house interior for my island. So yeah, definitely one of my top favorites. So that is all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, definitely consider giving this video a thumbs up, and also subscribe if you don't want to miss out on future videos, and especially for tomorrow's video where we'll be doing the final island tour for this island. I'm so excited to share it with you all. It's finally done. I'm super proud of how this island turned out. And you'll also want to subscribe for future content and my next island theme, which will be coming very soon. But with that, I hope you all have a lovely day or night, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!